business and has entertainment on the internet. On the issue of internet privacy and security, what can be done to protect our citizens from identity theft and our children from internet crimes?
I feel a lot of that has to do with the parents. As far as the children go, there's filters on the internet. You can stop children from going into different sites. Parents would pay attention to what their children are doing, would stop a lot of that. Identity theft? I don't know about all of you, but I sure don't want to put my social security number out on the internet somewhere. You know, tell them to give me a phone call, and, I'll verify who you are, and then maybe I'll give you the information if I'm looking for an internet loan, which I wouldn't do. But the internet is unrestricted, and we need to figure out some way to put some restrictions in there. I mean, I've been on the internet and I've seen where they've sent me an email that had some naked guy. There needs to be filters, more than there are now, put in there to stop this kind of garbage. I don't know what else to say about it.
On the issue of internet privacy and security, what can be done to protect our citizens from identity theft and our children from internet crime? Well, I'm here across the internet. Without the internet and the website, I wouldn't even think of this. Senator Jim Bunning was retiring because of the internet. It got out over the internet that things looked kind of like that creature from Jekyll Island. He lost all his support, so he decided to retire. He intended to retire, I believe. I thank God for the United States of America, the Constitution of the United States of America, the people of the United States of America, the states of the United States of America. I do not thank God for the pox that has fallen on us from Washington, D.C.
Thank you, sir.
There's the budget.
I think there's two good ways of dealing with this. The first is education, especially with the issue of children on the internet, exposing them. The number one person who plays a role in this is parents. I mean, when the books came out, we were worried about our kids reading these nasty books, and parents had to take a role. Then it was the radio, then it was TV, now it's the internet. The number one solution is for parents to spend time with their kids, take an interest in their lives, see what they're doing, teach them the right and wrong things, and we'll be okay.
Thanks, sir.
There's only one problem with that. Half the kids in the country don't have two parents there. Think about it. Think about it. I'm going to tell you something. You've got to do what I did in Northern Kentucky. I was the first chairman of the Community Program Center, and I filed a lawsuit against the cable company to prevent pornography from coming on our channels, and we beat it down because of community values. We stopped it cold in its tracks. The largest contributor to the American Civil Liberties Union is the pornography industry. When I enter the United States Senate, you can rest assured I'll try to pass legislation that will say a filter is filtering out all pornography on the internet, period. It has nothing to do with freedom of speech. You can't yell fire in a crowded room, and you shouldn't have pornography coming into your children's lives.
the family is the first barrier to this. It needs to be an active role in this. Sometimes the family is imperfect. The family needs to be the first barrier. Secondly, though, I think that people who commit crimes against children need to be locked away. I'm not a big believer that they become rehabilitated. I think these people have you could call it a sickness, but they commit crimes, and I think they need to be kept away from society. So while there are some people that may not need to be serving 20 years for nonviolent crimes, this is a violent crime against children, and they should be incarcerated and kept away from our kids.
This question's for Mr. Martin. Oh no, I'm going off my sheet. Mr. Martin.
What are the three principles of the Republican Party that should never be compromised? The pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's the
That's actually a pretty good answer. No, I think he's absolutely right. The right to life, liberty, I think, is the principle that undergirds all Republicans, or should inform all Republicans on their views. I think a third one, if I were to add another one, would be the belief in the market, the capitalism, free enterprise system. We too often, our party is veered from that. That's why, for example, I completely oppose bailouts and the government having private ownership of these companies. But those are the right to life, the right to liberty, and promoting the free market. Those would be my three.
Abraham Lincoln went to the nation and said to heal the nation, he called upon God for prayer to do so. That's one principle. Number two principle is Harry Truman, when the Russians tried to take over Berlin, spent 365 days airlifting all the food that the Berliners need, and he saved Berlin. Therefore, we continued on to save what? The nation of Europe to a free nation in Germany. The third principle of the Republican Party should be simple. I'd rather have Jesus than silver or gold. I'd rather be his than have riches untold. I'd rather have Jesus than anything this world affords today.
Three things that should define the GOP: that our rights are a gift of God, that we are a constitutional republic, and that those powers not enumerated and explicitly given to the federal government are left with the people and the states respectively.
I don't know about everybody else, but I think it's very appropriate that Mr. Stephenson was given the pulpit. I believe the Republican Party should have fiscal responsibility, morality, to include religion and truthfulness. And I also believe that we should push for the security of this nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, I want to remind you, in the interest of time, we have two questions left from Mr. Milton and Mr. Wilkie. Mr. Milton or Secretary Grayson?
What is your vision for Eastern Kentucky in the next 10 years, specifically when it comes to job creation?
My vision for Eastern Kentucky when it comes to job creation, something we've talked a lot about tonight already, which is coal. Making sure that we have strategic investments in coal gasification, liquid coal, stopping the cap and trade, stopping the EPA's attempts to regulate coal out of existence. That's an important part of the economic development of Eastern Kentucky. The second thing is to continue our efforts to improve education. Well, that's not really a federal issue, but if you're asking about my vision for Eastern Kentucky, it would be to continue at the state and local level promoting educational opportunities. And the thing we have to do, today I had a tour of a company called Troll and Toad, which is employing, somebody in the audience actually finally been there before, employing hundreds of folks here using the internet, using locals to sell the products of the internet. It's a small business that's now actually a pretty big business by federal government standards. And so promoting small business, tearing down those regulations, helping them with their, as they're getting started. We have some entrepreneurial centers across the region. Let's continue to work on promoting those. These are the kinds of things, small business, protocol, and education, that'll help the next 10 years of Eastern Kentucky to be brighter.